My name is Camden, and at 32 years old, I thought I had everything figured out. As a software engineer in Boston, I built the life I always dreamed about. Last Christmas, I drove 600 miles through blinding snowstorms to surprise my family after barely speaking for 3 years. Arms loaded with expensive gifts and heart full of hope, I stood on that familiar porch, watching my breath cloud in the December air. When Mom opened the door, her face hardened like concrete. "Sorry, wrong house," she said, then slammed the door in my face. Before I continue this painful story, let me know where you are watching from in the comments. Hit that like button and subscribe to hear how my family reunion turned into the coldest Christmas of my life. I grew up in a small Midwest town where everybody knew everybody. Our house was modest but filled with love. Dad worked at the local factory, while Mom waitressed at the diner downtown. We never had much money. But my parents somehow made Christmas magical, even when gifts were scarce. Life was simple until I turned 16. Dad collapsed at work from a massive heart attack. One minute he was packing boxes, the next he was gone. Just like that, our family foundation cracked apart. Mom, Rebecca, suddenly became a single parent to 3 boys. Marcus was 20, already working but still living at home. I was 16, stuck in that awkward space between childhood and adulthood. Devin was just 12, still needing so much guidance that Mom could barely provide while working double shifts. Those first few years after Dad died were brutal. Marcus stepped up financially, but grew bitter about his sacrificed dreams. I buried myself in school books, seeing education as my only escape route. Devin withdrew into video games, missing the father who would never teach him to drive or see him graduate. We wore secondhand clothes and learned to ignore the growl of half-empty stomachs. I watched Mom cry over bills when she thought no one was looking. The weight of her struggle fueled my determination to succeed. When my SAT scores qualified me for a full scholarship to a prestigious tech university in Boston, I felt like I had won the lottery. Mom hugged me with tears in her eyes, whispering how proud Dad would be. Marcus congratulated me stiffly, his smile not reaching his eyes. Only Devin showed unfiltered excitement, believing his big brother would become the next Bill Gates. The day I left home was harder than expected. Mom kept rearranging my few possessions in the beaten-up suitcase. Marcus gave me $50 he probably could not spare. Devin made me promise to call every Sunday. I drove away in my rusted Honda, watching them shrink in the rearview mirror, not fully understanding I was driving toward a life that would slowly separate us. During college, I came home every chance I got. Thanksgiving, Christmas, and a few weeks each summer. Each visit revealed subtle changes. Mom seemed older, her shoulders permanently curved from carrying invisible burdens. Marcus married his high school girlfriend and moved into a small apartment but remained fiercely protective of Mom and Devin. My youngest brother shot up several inches, his voice deepening, childhood gradually fading. My junior year, I landed an internship at a promising startup. The salary was modest, but they offered stock options that my roommates laughed at. Worthless paper, they called it. I stayed with that company after graduation, working 80-hour weeks, eating ramen noodles, and dreaming of creating something meaningful. 3 years later, that worthless paper transformed into life-changing wealth when our company was acquired by a tech giant. Suddenly, I had more money than I ever imagined. My first thought was to share it with my family. I called Mom with plans to pay off her mortgage. Her response stunned me. "We do not need your charity, Camden. We have managed just fine without your help for years." I tried explaining this was not charity, but sharing my good fortune. Marcus got on the phone, his voice cold. "Some of us stayed behind to take care of family instead of chasing dollar signs. We do not need your guilt money." Only Devin seemed happy about my success, but our conversations became awkward, like we were speaking different languages. He would mention struggling to pay community college tuition, but refuse when I offered help. My visits home became less frequent. Each trip felt increasingly uncomfortable, filled with strained conversations and unspoken resentments. Mom would ask about my fancy Boston friends with an edge to her voice. Marcus would make comments about people forgetting where they came from. Devin tried playing peacemaker, but could not bridge the growing divide. The past 3 years, I only went home once, for Thanksgiving 2 years ago. The visit ended with Marcus and me arguing about politics, Mom crying in the kitchen, and me leaving a day early. Since then, our communication consisted of brief phone calls on birthdays and holidays. Last month, something changed. Mom called just to chat, something she had not done in years. She mentioned missing me, asked detailed questions about my life, and even laughed at my jokes. We spoke 3 times that week, each conversation warmer than the last. When she mentioned how different Christmas would feel without all her boys together, I made an impulsive decision. What if I drove home this year? I suggested. Her pause lasted several seconds before she answered. That would be nice. Not enthusiastic, but not unwelcoming either. It felt like a door cracking open, and I was determined to push through. I spent weeks planning the perfect Christmas surprise. For Mom, I found a vintage record player and collected vinyl albums from her favorite artists from the 70s. For Devin, I splurged on the gaming system he had been talking about for years but could never afford. Finding something for Marcus proved harder, but I eventually selected a premium leather jacket similar to one Dad used to wear. The most important gift required no shopping. I prepared a cashier's check for $68,540, the exact amount remaining on Mom's mortgage. This time, I would not give her the option to refuse. This money would change her life, giving her freedom from the financial stress she had carried for decades. I packed my SUV with gifts, clothes for a week-long stay, and snacks for the road. The weather forecast predicted snow, so I installed new winter tires and packed emergency supplies. The drive from Boston to our small Midwest town would take about 10 hours in good conditions. With December weather, I planned for 12. The journey began smoothly enough. I left Boston before dawn, watching the city lights fade behind me as Christmas music played softly from the speakers. The first few hours passed quickly through Massachusetts and into New York, the highway relatively clear despite the cold. Pennsylvania brought the first challenge. My engine light flashed on along a rural stretch of highway. I pulled into a small gas station where the mechanic diagnosed a minor sensor issue. The repair took 2 hours and a chunk of my emergency cash, but I remained determined. This delay was merely a test of my commitment. Back on the road, I watched dark clouds gathering on the horizon. The weather forecast had updated, warning of a significant winter system moving through Ohio, directly in my path. Most sensible travelers would have found a hotel. But Christmas was 2 days away. I pressed forward. The snow began as gentle flakes that quickly transformed into a blinding curtain of white. I gripped the steering wheel tightly, reduced my speed, and focused on the taillights of the truck ahead. Visibility dropped to mere feet, transforming the familiar interstate into an alien landscape. For hours, I crawled forward, refusing to acknowledge the multiple opportunities to exit and wait out the storm. Night fell, compounding the challenging conditions. My shoulders ached from tension, but each mile brought me closer to reconciliation. I imagined the surprise on their faces, the tears, the hugs, the healing that would begin once I walked through that door. When I finally crossed into my home state, emotions swelled in my chest. The storm had weakened, and familiar landmarks began appearing through the darkness. Exit signs for towns where I had attended high school football games, billboards advertising local businesses, some new, many familiar. Exhaustion threatened to overwhelm me as I approached my hometown. 22 hours after leaving Boston, I pulled into the local diner, where Mom had waitressed throughout my childhood. Though desperately needing sleep, I craved connection to this place that shaped me. The bell chimed as I entered. The interior had been updated, but the smell of coffee and pancakes remained unchanged. I settled at the counter, ordering coffee from a waitress whose name tag read, Brittany. She studied my face while pouring coffee. You look familiar. Camden Miller. Right? You were a few years ahead of me in school. I nodded, surprised to be recognized after so long. Just passing through? She asked, her tone casual but her eyes curious. Visiting family for Christmas. Her expression shifted subtly. That is nice. Your family still lives in the same house? As far as I know. Have not been back in a couple years. Brittany nodded, her smile not quite reaching her eyes. Well, welcome home. Your mom comes in sometimes. She never mentioned you were visiting. The comment struck me as odd. It is a surprise, I explained. Oh. She busied herself wiping the already clean counter. That is nice. Family is important, especially this time of year. Something in her manner suggested more remained unsaid. Before I could probe further, my phone rang. Mom's name flashed on the screen. Just checking in, she said when I answered. You mentioned last week you might take some time off. I considered revealing my location but decided to preserve the surprise. Yeah, just relaxing, I replied vaguely. Well, Merry Christmas. If I do not talk to you before then. Her formal tone caught me off guard. This did not sound like the warm conversations we had shared recently. Merry Christmas, Mom. I love you. A pause. You too. Take care. After finishing my coffee, I drove through town, noting changes since my last visit. The old movie theater had been converted into retail space. A new chain restaurant stood where the local hardware store once operated. My high school looked smaller somehow, its brick facade weathered. Finally, I turned onto our street as snowflakes began falling again. Christmas lights adorned most houses, including ours. The sight of our modest two-story home with multicolored lights strung along the gutters made my throat tighten. Dad had always insisted on colored lights rather than white ones. I parked behind an unfamiliar sedan in the driveway. Another car I did not recognize was parked at the curb. Visitors for the holidays, perhaps. The house glowed with warm light from within, smoke curling from the chimney suggesting a fire in the hearth. Gathering my courage and the gift bags, I approached the front door. Through the window, I glimpsed movement, the shimmer of a Christmas tree, the indistinct murmur of voices. Home. After 22 exhausting hours on the road, I had finally made it home. I balanced the presents in my arms and rang the doorbell, my heart pounding with anticipation. Footsteps approached, and the porch light illuminated. The door swung open. Mom stood framed in the doorway, her hair grayer than I remembered, wearing a red sweater I had never seen. For a split second, her expression registered pure shock, eyes widening, mouth forming a small O. Then, like a curtain dropping, her features hardened. Sorry, wrong house, she said flatly, already pushing the door closed. I laughed nervously, thinking she was joking. Mom. It is me. Camden. Surprise, her hand remained firm on the door. I know who you are. This is not a good time. Confused, I tried to peek past her into the living room. I drove 600 miles to see you guys. It is Christmas. We are having a family dinner, she replied, emphasizing the word family in a way that made my stomach drop. You are not family anymore. The words hit like physical blows. Mom. What are you talking about? Of course I am family. Movement behind her caught my attention. Marcus appeared. His face, a mask of hostility. He placed a protective hand on Mom's shoulder. You should leave, he said. Nobody invited you. I talked to Mom last week, I protested. We had great conversations. She said it would be nice if I came for Christmas. Mom looked away, refusing to meet my eyes. I was being polite. I did not think you would actually come. Marcus stepped forward. You cannot buy your way back in, Camden. That is not how family works. I glanced down at the gift bags in my arms, suddenly feeling foolish. These are just Christmas presents. I wanted to see you all. We do not need your presents or your charity, Marcus snapped. Go back to your perfect life in Boston and leave us alone. Through the narrowing gap in the doorway, I spotted Devin hovering in the background, his expression torn between greeting me and staying loyal to Mom and Marcus. Can I at least say hello to Devin? I asked, desperation creeping into my voice. Mom shook her head. It is best if you go, Camden. This is a private family gathering. The door closed with quiet finality. I stood motionless, snow collecting on my shoulders, gift bags growing heavy in my arms. The porch light switched off, leaving me in darkness, broken only by the colored Christmas lights blinking indifferently. I retreated to my car, placing the gifts carefully on the passenger seat. Through the living room window, I could see figures moving about. continuing their evening as if the painful exchange had never occurred. A Christmas movie played on the television. Someone laughed. My phone chimed with a text message from Devin. "Bad timing, man. Try again tomorrow." Marcus is in a mood. I typed several replies but deleted them all. What could I possibly say? My family had just explicitly uninvited me from Christmas. The mother who raised me had pretended not to know me. Tears burned behind my eyes as I started the engine. The last time I had spent Christmas with them flashed through my mind. We had argued about something trivial. I could barely remember what now. Mom had made her traditional cinnamon rolls. Devin had received a used laptop that I secretly helped pay for. Marcus had been sullen, but civil. Nothing that happened then explained the complete rejection I had just experienced. I checked into the only hotel in town, a chain establishment on the highway. The board clerk barely looked up as I completed the registration, oblivious to my emotional turmoil. The room smelled of industrial cleaner and stale air. The generic art and beige walls, a stark contrast to the home I had been denied. Sitting on the edge of the bed, I scrolled through old family photos on my phone. Christmases passed. Birthdays. The rare fishing trip. Dad teaching me to change oil in the car. Mom proudly displaying my academic awards. Devin and me building a snowman. Marcus standing awkwardly in his factory uniform on his first day of work. When had I become an outsider? What unforgivable sin had I committed? The questions circled without answers as exhaustion finally overcame me. Morning light filtering through cheap curtains woke me to the reality that yesterday had not been a nightmare. My family had rejected me, but morning also brought determination. There must have been a misunderstanding. Perhaps Marcus had poisoned Mom against me. Maybe they were embarrassed about their financial situation and too proud to accept help. Whatever the reason, I would not leave town without answers. I would not abandon my family again, even if they thought they wanted me to. The next morning, I returned to the house without the gifts, hoping for a calmer reception. The extra cars were gone, suggesting the visitors had departed. I knocked lightly, preparing arguments and apologies, though I remained unsure what I had done wrong. The door opened partially, and Devin peered out. Relief washed over his face. "Camden." "Hey," he said, stepping onto the porch and closing the door behind him. "I was not sure you would come back after last night. What is going on, Devin?" I asked. "Why did Mom pretend not to know me?" He sighed, running a hand through his hair. "A nervous habit from childhood. It is complicated. A lot has happened since you left." "I did not leave," I corrected. "I moved for work. There is a difference." "Not to Mom and Marcus," he replied. "They see it as abandonment." The accusation stung. "I call. I visit when I can. I offer help." "Your version of help feels like charity to them," Devin explained. "Every time you send money, Marcus says you are showing off. Every time you miss a holiday, Mom says you have forgotten where you came from." "That is ridiculous," I protested. "I worked hard for everything I have. I want to share it with you guys because I love you." The door opened again, and Mom stepped out. She looked tired. The morning light accentuating lines I had not noticed last night. "I thought I heard your voice," she said. Her tone resigned rather than welcoming. "Mom, can we talk? Please?" I gestured to the porch swing Dad had installed decades ago. "I just want to understand what happened." She hesitated before nodding curtly, sitting on the far end of the swing. Devin remained standing, shifting uncomfortably between us. "You want to understand?" Mom finally spoke. "You left us. Camden. You built your fancy life in Boston, with your fancy friends and fancy job. You send checks like that makes up for your empty chair at birthdays and holidays." "I was building a future," I explained. "Working hard so I could help the family." "We never asked for your help," she replied sharply. "We asked for your presence. Do you know who was here when I needed surgery 2 years ago? Marcus and Devin. Do you know who helps me with house repairs? Marcus and Devin. Not you." Guilt washed over me. I never knew about any surgery. Nobody told me. Would you have come if we had? She challenged. Before I could answer, a truck pulled into the driveway. Marcus emerged, his expression darkening when he spotted me. What is he doing here? He demanded, striding toward us. We are just talking, Devin said, his voice placating. Marcus ignored him, focusing his anger on me. You have some nerve showing up again. Did you think we would forget last night just because it is a new day? I stood to face him. I thought we could talk like adults about whatever is bothering you. He laughed bitterly. What is bothering me? How about the fact that you think you can disappear for years, then waltz back with expensive gifts, and expect a parade? He thinks $68,540 makes him family again. He added, turning to Mom. My blood ran cold. You found the check. We found all your little bribes, Marcus sneered. Opened them after you left. Real, thoughtful, Camden. Nothing says, I love you. Like throwing money at people. That money was to pay off Mom's mortgage, I explained, looking at her. So she would not have to worry anymore. We do not want your charity, Marcus interjected before Mom could respond. It is not charity, I shouted, frustration boiling over. It is family helping family. What is wrong with that? You would not understand, Marcus said. Some of us stayed. Some of us sacrificed. Some of us built our lives around family instead of abandoning them for bigger paychecks. Is that what this is about? I asked. Suddenly, understanding. You are jealous of my success? Marcus stepped closer, fists clenched. You think I want your life? Your money? I have worked the same factory job for 15 years. I coach Little League. I check on Mom daily. I help Devin with his truck. I am here, Camden. That is worth more than all your stock options. I never said it was not, I replied, trying to diffuse the situation. I respect what you have done here. Respect? Marcus laughed. Is that why you send Christmas cards with pictures of your vacations in Europe? Is that why you mention your bonus amounts in emails? You do not respect us. You pity us. Mom stood up. That is enough. Both of you. I turned to her. Mom, I never meant to make anyone feel bad. I just wanted to share my good fortune. By paying off my mortgage without even asking if I wanted that? She questioned. By making me feel like a charity case? That was not my intention, I insisted. Marcus scoffed. Your intentions do not matter when your actions hurt people. Devin finally spoke up. Can we all just calm down? It is almost Christmas. Stay out of this, Marcus snapped at him. No. I will not. Devin replied with unexpected firmness. This has gone on long enough. Camden. Marcus has been struggling financially. He lost his management position at the factory last year. His pride would not let him tell you. Marcus whirled on him. Shut up, Devin. He needs to know the truth. Devin continued. Marcus has been helping Mom with her bills. That is why he is so angry about your money. It makes him feel like a failure. The revelation hit me hard. My successful older brother, the one who had always seemed so capable, was struggling. And rather than reach out, he had turned his difficulty into resentment toward me. Marcus, I had no idea, I said softly. Why did you not tell me? And listen to your financial advice? He spat. No thanks. I would have helped without judgment, I insisted. That is what family does. We are not your family anymore, Mom interjected, her voice trembling. You made your choice when you left and barely looked back. We have made our peace with that. You should too. Her words cut deeper than any knife. Mom, you cannot mean that. I do, she said, though pain flickered across her face. It hurts less if we just accept it. Please. Camden. Leave us alone. Marcus stepped forward. Before you go, I suggest you cash that check. Otherwise, we will. Anger surged through me. The money was a gift, not a bribe. And since you do not want it as a gift, you will not get it at all. I will freeze the account. Marcus advanced threateningly. You would not dare. Watch me. I replied. backing toward my car. You think I abandoned you? You never even tried to understand my life or my choices. You twisted every attempt I made to stay connected into something ugly. I am done trying. As I got into my car, I delivered a final promise. You will regret this, Marcus. Not because of the money, but because you chose pride over family. Merry Christmas. I drove away, hands shaking on the steering wheel, tears blurring my vision. Behind me, the house I grew up in shrank in the rearview mirror, just as it had when I left for college. Only this time, it felt like I might never return. I checked into a different hotel across town, needing distance from my family home. The room was identical to countless others in chain hotels across America, impersonal and sterile. Much like how my family now viewed me. I sat on the edge of the bed, phone in hand, and called my bank. I need to place a freeze on account ending in 4,392, I told the customer service representative. Immediately. May I ask the reason for the freeze, Mr. Miller? I wrote a check I need to ensure does not clear, I explained. Not elaborating further, the freeze will be effective immediately, she confirmed. Would you like a notification if someone attempts to access this account? Yes, please. Less than 20 minutes later, my phone pinged with an alert. Attempted transaction on frozen account. Marcus had wasted no time trying to cash the check. Confirming my suspicions about his motivations, my phone buzzed with incoming text messages. Marcus, what did you do? The bank would not cash your check. Marcus. Real mature, Camden. Playing games with money you promised. Marcus, answer your phone. I silenced the ringer as calls from his number began flooding in. Whatever relationship we might have salvaged had now been poisoned completely. The betrayal cut deep. Not just that he had tried to cash the check so quickly, but that money appeared to be his only interest in reconnecting. I turned off my phone entirely, unable to bear more accusations or explanations. The room darkened as evening approached, but I made no move to turn on lights. Sitting in the growing darkness seemed appropriate for my mood. How had we reached this point? When had success become something shameful in my family's eyes? I thought about Dad, wondering what he would make of this situation. He had always encouraged my academic pursuits, proudly telling neighbors about my scholarships and awards. Would he have resented my success too? Or would he have celebrated it? Eventually, hunger drove me to the hotel restaurant, a bland space with holiday decorations that only emphasized my solitude. Christmas Eve. And I sat alone among travelers and other displaced people, picking at an overcooked steak, while Christmas music played softly in the background. Camden? Camden Miller? I looked up to see Alex Jenkins, a childhood friend I had not spoken to in years. He stood beside my table, genuine surprise brightening his face. Mind if I join you? He asked, not waiting for an answer before sliding into the booth across from me. Man, how long has it been? 5 years? 6, at least, I replied, grateful for the distraction. What are you doing here? I thought you lived across town. Pipes burst at home, he explained. Insurance put us up here while repairs happen. Worst timing ever, right? Christmas Eve and all. But what about you? Visiting family? I hesitated before answering. Something like that. Alex studied my expression. Trouble in paradise? Last I heard, you were some big shot in Boston. News travels fast, I remarked. Small town, he shrugged. People talk, especially about local boys who make good. What exactly do people say? I asked, curiosity overcoming my desire for privacy. Alex shifted uncomfortably. You really want to know? I really do, he sighed. Well, the story around town is that you struck it rich and forgot where you came from. That you abandoned your family when they needed you. He held up his hands defensively. That is just what people say. I never believed it. And who spreads these stories? I asked, though I already knew the answer. Marcus mentions it sometimes at the bar, Alex admitted. Says, you refuse to help the family, despite your millions. Is that true? I laughed without humor. Not even close. I have offered help repeatedly. They refuse it. Then complain, I do not help. That tracks with what I know about Marcus, Alex said thoughtfully. No offense, but your brother has a way of reshaping reality to make himself look better. None taken. We have established that fairly conclusively. In the past 24 hours, Alex leaned forward. Look, I probably should not tell you this, but Marcus has been in some trouble. Gambling debts. Pretty significant ones from what I hear. The revelation clicked several pieces into place. That explains a lot. I thought it might. Alex nodded. He would never admit it. Of course. Too proud. But if he is pushing for money from you, he might be more desperate than I realized. I finished. We talked for another hour, Alex filling me in on town gossip and his own life. The conversation felt normal. A brief respite from family drama. We exchanged numbers before parting, promising to stay in touch this time. Back in my room, I turned my phone on to find 17 missed calls from Marcus, 8 from Mom's number, and 3 from Devin. A text from Devin stood out among Marcus's threatening messages. Please call me when you can. Not with Mom or Marcus. Important. I called him immediately. Camden? Devin answered on the first ring, his voice hushed. Are you okay? I have been better, I admitted. You wanted to talk? Not over the phone, he whispered. Can you meet me? We arranged to meet at an all-night diner on the edge of town. Devin arrived looking exhausted, glancing nervously over his shoulder as he slid into the booth. Marcus does not know I am here, he explained. He would lose it if he knew. What is going on, Devin? The truth. This time, he took a deep breath. The mortgage story is a lie. Mom paid off the house years ago with Dad's life insurance. The money Marcus wants. It is for gambling debts. Dangerous ones. Though Alex had prepared me for this revelation, hearing it confirmed by Devin still shocked me. How bad is it? Bad enough that he is panicking about your frozen account, Devin replied. He promised someone money by the end of the week. When you showed up with that check, he thought his problems were solved. And Mom? Does she know? Devin shook his head. She thinks he needs the money for home repairs and medical bills. He has been lying to her for years. Camden, making her think things are worse than they are, so she will not question where his money goes. And the way they treated me? The claims I abandoned the family? Partly Marcus's manipulation, partly real hurt. Devin sighed. You did grow distant, Camden. The more successful you became, the less you seemed to need us. Mom felt replaced. Marcus encouraged that feeling, making every gift from you seem condescending rather than generous. I processed this information, anger mixing with sadness. Why are you telling me this now? Because I am tired of the lies, Devin admitted. And because Marcus is getting desperate. The things he said after you left today. I am worried about what he might do. We parted with an awkward hug, Devin extracting a promise that I would not confront Marcus directly until after Christmas. Let things cool down, he advised. That night, sleep came in fitful bursts, my dreams filled with arguments and slammed doors. When morning light filtered through the curtains, I checked my phone to find it overwhelmed with notifications. 51 missed calls, 11 voicemails, most from Marcus, each more threatening than the last. The final one, left at 5:30 in the morning, chilled me. You think you can humiliate me like this? I know people at your company. One call about your drinking problem. Your drug habit. Whatever story works. Your perfect life comes crashing down. Unfreeze the account, or find out how it feels to lose everything. The brother I had looked up to as a child was now threatening to destroy my reputation and career. How had we fallen so far from the family we once were? Christmas morning dawned cold and clear, the sun reflecting blindingly off fresh snow. While families across town opened presents and shared breakfast, I formulated a plan to reach the one person who might still be receptive. Mom. A quick call to the nursing home where she had worked part-time for years confirmed my suspicion. Mom always volunteered for holiday shifts, allowing coworkers with young children to stay home. She would be there until 3 that afternoon. I retrieved one gift from my car. The smallest but most meaningful. Inside a simple box lay Dad's pocket watch, restored to working condition, after years of sitting broken, in Mom's jewelry box. I had taken it last visit, promising to have it repaired. The nursing home was quiet when I arrived, most residents visiting with family in the community room, where a small Christmas celebration was underway. The receptionist recognized Mom's name immediately. Rebecca is in the East Wing. Shall I page her? If you could just point me in that direction, I would prefer to surprise her, I replied. I found Mom adjusting an elderly resident's pillows, her hands gentle as she worked. For a moment, I simply watched, remembering how those same hands had bandaged my childhood injuries and smoothed my hair during fevers. Mom, I said softly. She turned, startled. The resident looked between us curiously. This handsome young man yours, Rebecca? The elderly woman asked. Mom hesitated only briefly. Yes, Martha. This is my son. Camden. The acknowledgement, small as it was, gave me hope. Can we talk? I asked. Just for a few minutes. Mom glanced at her watch. I have a break in 10 minutes. Wait in the staff room. Down the hall. Third door on the right. The staff room was empty, decorated with a small artificial tree and cards exchanged between coworkers. I sat nervously, the gift box turning over and over in my hands. Mom entered precisely 10 minutes later, her expression guarded. You should not be here, Camden. I have nothing more to say. I brought you something, I said, holding out the box. Please. Just open it. Reluctantly, she took the box, removing the lid with careful movements. When she saw the watch, her composure cracked. She lifted it with trembling fingers. It works now, I explained. All it needed was cleaning and a new crystal. The mechanism was still perfect, just like Dad kept it. She pressed the crown, and the lid sprang open to reveal the watch face and an inscription I had added. Time changes many things, but love remains. Merry Christmas. Mom, your father wore this every day, she said softly, tears gathering in her eyes. He would wind it each morning, so precise. After he died, I could not bear to have it repaired. It seemed right that it stopped when he did. I remember the sound it made, I said. That little click when he checked the time. It was like his signature. We sat in silence for a moment, the watch between us forming a bridge across years of misunderstanding. Why did you come back, Camden? She finally asked. After all this time? Because you are my family. I answered simply. No matter what has happened. That never changed for me. Marcus says you look down on us, she said. That you think we are beneath you now. Marcus is wrong, I replied firmly. I have never thought that. Not for a single moment. I am proud of where I come from. Who raised me? Her gaze remained on the watch. You stopped calling as much. Visits became rare. Christmas cards, with pictures of places we will never see. It hurt. Camden. It felt like you were showing us the life you preferred over us. I was showing you what your sacrifices made possible, I explained. Every success I have is because of you and Dad. The foundation you gave me. I wanted you to be proud, not hurt. And the money? She asked. Always trying to give us money? Because I finally had something to give back, I said. After years of you giving everything for us. She looked up, really seeing me for the first time. I never told you about my surgery because Marcus said you were too busy with some product launch. Was that true? I shook my head. I would have been here instantly if I had known. No product launch would have stopped me. And the mortgage money? I hesitated, unsure how much to reveal about Marcus's deception. Devin told me the truth, about the house being paid off, about Marcus's real problems. Mom's face fell. You know, yes, he swore it was just a rough patch, she whispered, that he had it under control. Mom, I do not want to hurt you, but Marcus needs help. Professional help. The kind of help I am willing to pay for, not because I think I am better than anyone, but because I love my family. She wiped tears with the back of her hand. I have been blind. Willfully blind. We all have our blind spots, I said. Mine was not realizing how my absence was being interpreted. Mom reached across the table, taking my hand. The gesture, so simple, yet so meaningful, broke something inside me. Tears I had been holding back. flowed freely. "Camden, I am sorry about last night," she said. I was shocked, and Marcus had been filling my head with, "It does not matter. I should never have turned you away. It is okay," I managed through tears. "No, it is not," she insisted. No mother should ever tell her child they do not belong. We talked until her break ended, making tentative plans to meet after her shift. As she stood to return to work, she impulsively hugged me, the watch still clutched in her hand. "Your father would be so proud of the man you have become," she whispered. "And so am I." With one relationship on the mend, I turned my attention to Devon. He had agreed to meet at his apartment, a small unit above the hardware store downtown. When I arrived bearing his original Christmas gift, his face lit up with genuine pleasure. "You still got me something? Even after everything?" "Of course," I replied. "You are my brother." Inside the apartment, we talked openly for the first time in years. About his community college struggles, his dream of becoming a computer programmer, his frustration at being caught between Mom and Marcus. "I should have stood up to Marcus sooner," he admitted. "Called him on his lies. But he has always been so dominant. Since Dad died, his word has been law in this family." "That stops now," I said firmly. "Mom knows the truth, at least part of it. We need to confront Marcus together. With evidence." Devon looked terrified at the prospect. "He will explode." "Probably," I agreed. "But it needs to happen if this family has any chance of healing." Together, we developed a plan. Devon would gather bank statements showing Marcus's withdrawals and gambling patterns. I would arrange a meeting at neutral territory, a restaurant where Marcus would be less likely to cause a scene. Mom would attend after completing her shift. As we finalized details, my phone chimed with a text from Marcus. "Last chance. Unfreeze the account, or I start making calls tomorrow. Your choice." I showed the message to Devon, who paled. "He is serious, Camden. He is desperate enough to follow through." "Let him try," I replied, typing a response. "The money stays frozen until we all talk. Like a family. Dad's favorite restaurant. 5 p.m. today. Mom will be there. Your choice. Come it clean, or keep digging your hole deeper." The response came almost immediately. "You will regret this." Perhaps I would. But for the first time since arriving in town, I felt like I was doing the right thing. Not running away, not throwing money at problems, but confronting difficult truths with the hope of rebuilding something broken. Dad's favorite restaurant was a steakhouse on the edge of town, the kind of place he would save for months to take us on special occasions. The hostess seated us in a quiet corner booth, away from the Christmas Day crowd. Mom arrived first, still in her nursing scrubs, looking nervous, but determined. Devon followed shortly after, carrying a folder of documents. We ordered drinks and waited. Marcus arrived 20 minutes late, his expression thunderous as he approached our table. He remained standing, looking down at us. "Quite the family reunion you have arranged," he said coldly. "I assume this is some kind of intervention." "Please sit down," Mom requested quietly. "People are looking." His eyes darted around the restaurant before he reluctantly slid into the booth beside Devon, as far from me as possible. "Say what you need to say so we can end this charade," he muttered. I had rehearsed opening lines, planned speeches about family and trust, but facing Marcus's hostility, those carefully prepared words evaporated. Instead, I simply placed the bank notification on the table. "You tried to cash the check within 20 minutes of me leaving yesterday," I said. "Why the rush if it was about Mom's mortgage?" Marcus's jaw tightened. "I do not owe you explanations." "You owe me the truth," Mom interjected. "Camden knows the house is paid off, Marcus. I know about the gambling." The color drained from his face. His eyes darted to Devon, who stared down at the table. "You little traitor," Marcus hissed. "Do not blame Devon," I interrupted. "He was protecting Mom, which is what you claim to be doing all these years." Marcus's hands clenched into fists on the table. "You have no idea what I have sacrificed for this family." "We know exactly what you have sacrificed," Devon said, finding his courage. "And what you have thrown away." He opened the folder, spreading bank statements across the table. Withdrawals at casinos, payday loans, Second mortgage on your house that Jessica does not know about. Marcus lunged for the papers, but Mom placed her hand firmly on them. No more hiding, Marcus. No more lies. For a moment, I thought he might storm out. Instead, something broke in him. His shoulders slumped, the anger deflating into defeat. I never meant for it to get this bad, he whispered. It started small. Sports bets with the guys at work. Then poker games. Then online betting. I always thought the next win would fix everything. How much do you owe? I asked gently. He named a figure that made Mom gasp. Nearly twice the amount of my check. Who did you promise my money to? I pressed. People you do not want to know, he replied. Fear evident in his voice. They gave me until the end of the week. The pieces finally aligned perfectly. Marcus's desperation. The immediate attempt to cash the check. The escalating threats. My successful older brother, always so strong, had fallen into a trap he could not escape. Why did you never ask for help? I asked. Real help, not just money. His laugh was bitter. Ask my little brother who left us behind. Admit I was drowning while you were succeeding? I was supposed to be the strong one after Dad died. The provider. The protector. And turning me into the enemy made your failure easier to bear, I surmised. He did not deny it. Every time you sent money, every success you shared, it just highlighted my failures. I started telling myself you were showing off, looking down on us. Eventually, I believed it. Made Mom and Devin believe it too. I never saw you as a failure, Marcus, I said honestly. Never. You were my hero growing up. The brother who sacrificed college to help Mom raise us after Dad died. Nothing could diminish that. Tears gathered in his eyes, the first I had seen since Dad's funeral. I have ruined everything. My marriage. My relationship with you. My standing with Mom. All because I was too proud to admit I needed help. Mom reached across the table, taking his hand. We are still family, Marcus. Damaged, maybe, but still family. We talked for hours, working through years of misunderstandings and resentments. I explained my intentions behind gifts and financial offers. Marcus admitted to manipulating family perceptions about me. Mom acknowledged, enabling his behavior out of fear of losing another family member. Devin spoke about feeling trapped between warring factions of the family he loved. By the time we ordered dessert, we had reached decisions about the path forward. I would pay Marcus's debts directly to creditors, not to him. On the condition he enter gambling addiction counseling, the money would be a loan with a payment plan we all agreed was fair, preserving his dignity while acknowledging reality. I would stay in town through New Year's, spending time rebuilding relationships with each family member individually. Most importantly, we established new communication expectations, weekly video calls, honest updates about struggles and successes. No more secrets, no more assumptions about intentions. I am sorry for what I said, Camden, Marcus finally offered as we prepared to leave. About you not being family anymore. About the threats. We all said things we did not mean, I replied. The question is where we go from here. The days between Christmas and New Year's became a healing time. I visited Mom daily, helping with household repairs Marcus had neglected. We cooked together, looking through old photo albums, rebuilding our bond through shared memories. Devin and I spent hours discussing his educational goals. By New Year's Eve, we had applied for transfer programs that would bring him to Boston for his final 2 years of computer science study. Marcus proved the most challenging relationship to repair. His pride remained a barrier, but small breakthroughs occurred. We worked on his truck together, finding common ground in the mechanical tasks Dad had taught us. During those hours, glimpses of our childhood bond re-emerged. New Year's Eve dinner brought us all together again, this time at Mom's house. The atmosphere remained somewhat awkward, but fundamentally different from the rejection I had experienced just a week earlier. We toasted Dad's memory. We acknowledged past hurts without reopening wounds. We cautiously planned a summer gathering in Boston. When I finally drove back to Boston in the new year, I left behind a family still fractured but healing. Mom called the day I arrived home. Just to check, I had made it safely. Marcus texted awkwardly but sincerely about his first counseling session. Devin sent daily updates about his transfer application process. The following spring, Mom visited my Boston home for the first time. Walking through my life, meeting my friends, seeing my world helped her understand I had not been rejecting my roots, but building upon them. The journey taught me that forgiveness is not an event but a process, ongoing and sometimes painful. It showed me that family bonds cannot be maintained through money or occasional visits, but require constant communication and genuine understanding. I had believed my success would automatically translate into family pride. Instead, it created distance I did not recognize until it became a chasm. Money could not bridge that gap. Only honesty, humility, and consistent presence could rebuild what was broken. Today, our family remains imperfect. Marcus still struggles with gambling urges. Mom still occasionally makes comments about my fancy lifestyle. Devin still sometimes feels caught in the middle. I still work too much and visit too little. But we talk about these things now, addressing problems before they fester into resentments. Dad used to say that family is like a garden, requiring constant tending. Success means nothing if you have no one to share it with. The price of ambition should never be the loss of those who shaped you. I drove 600 miles last Christmas, thinking gifts and money would heal old wounds. This year, I understand that the most valuable gift is simply showing up, again and again, even when it is difficult. Especially when it is difficult. Have you ever had to rebuild a damaged relationship with family? What helped you reconnect? Share your story in the comments below. If this journey of rejection and reconciliation touched your heart, please hit that like button and subscribe for more real-life stories. Thank you for listening to my story. And remember, sometimes the longest journeys we take aren't measured in miles, but in the steps we take toward understanding each other.